Welcome back everybody to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to paint your interior after gutting it. Alright, so to begin, I am assuming that you guys already did all the interior gutting, such as removing the sound deadening and all the interior pieces. So to start off, you guys probably see in the last video how I drilled brush certain areas off that had adhesive that wouldn't come off. I think most of them is just the silicone as well, the silicone that was on the car from factory. Remove all that, and I didn't do this, but you guys can definitely do this if you want a better result than me. Go ahead and grab like sandpaper that's like 500 grit. I don't know if that's too rough or too soft, but I normally just use 500. You would use 500 grit sandpaper and just sand the whole car down. So basically every panel of the car, or floor panel I should say, and all the seats and the trunk, go ahead and sand that out with 500 to smooth everything out. And once you're done sanding everything, what you're going to want to do now after all that is by yourself. This is from O'Reilly. Any kind of wax and grease remover works, but this has worked out pretty well for me so far, so just get this, honestly. But yeah, get a wax and grease remover. After that, you can get these shop towels from O'Reilly as well, or any store to be honest, any automotive store. These are fairly cheap and works very well for wax and grease removal. And then for each cable, you want to tape off anything that's like could easily be sprayed on. I mean, I did a pretty crap job, but it doesn't really matter to me because I don't really care if it's perfect or not. I just want it to look somewhat decent because it is a track car. But you want to tape everything off, and for me, I tied all the cables up to kind of keep them from touching the areas that I'm going to be painting. And it's kind of ghetto, but I just tied it with USB cables and I just put it up there. But back to the point. Once you finish off doing the wax and grease remover, you will want to get any kind of tack cloth. I only got these because they were the only thing available at the store I was at. But it doesn't really matter, honestly. Get any kind of tack cloth because they all do the same thing. Now, I did do a pretty crap job at covering up certain areas, but that is only because I am definitely not a perfectionist when I want to get things done. So I just cover what I don't want to get paint on or overspray on and kind of just call it a day. Obviously, if you want it to be perfect, then don't do what I did right there. You want to make sure you take your time and cover everything up. When you are ready to spray as well, this is my little DIY ventilation system I've kind of just thought of. I mean, there has been people who've done these before, but I kind of just did my own little setup on it. So this is my little ventilation system right here. I know it's not the best, and it's freaking ghetto, but it gets the job done. I'm starting to sound like the guy that can do it for cheaper. But that is besides the point. What I have here is a bucket, a fan from Walmart, very cheap, and some water inside the bucket. Now what you're going to want to do is not this if you want an efficient system. So technically what this is supposed to do is suck in all the overspray and blow it into the water in hopes of the overspray getting trapped in the water. Now where this falls off is when all the air and fumes come back up. There's no filter for it. So you're sure that you may have captured the overspray, but all the toxic fumes is still in the air. So if I were to recreate this, which I'm not going to as of right now, is grab a wider bucket, like an actual container bucket. Cut the lid in half, and then use one fan on one half of the bucket, and the other half have the lid, and the lid will have like holes and stuff like that. You poke holes on there, and then you'll have like a filter on the holes, or you'll have a filter on the side that has a lid. That way when you blow the air into the bucket and the air comes back up, it'll get filtered out. I did not do that because I am kind of just rushing this project because winter is coming. Winter is right around the corner, and I do not want to delay this any longer and just get it done as soon as possible, because the sooner I get this done, the sooner I can start working on the motor. Anyways, that is my ventilation system. So obviously, if you guys already know a little bit about painting, you will always want to use self-etching primer. Or let me show you the bottle. You will always want to use self-etching primer on exposed metal that you sand off, because self-etching primer sticks onto the car or the metal better than the sandable primer will. So any exposed metal you have from sanding your car or the interior, or yeah, your car, you will use self-etching primer. Now if you don't have any exposed metal and you just kind of did like a light sand to kind of clean things up, you can go ahead and spray the 2-in-1 filler and sandable primer. I like using this because it creates a thicker layer of primer, and with that it makes the job just looks better. You won't see like some imperfections that you would if you just use a regular old primer. Now that Rust-Oleum does do a very good job at priming, but if you guys have any suggestions on better like spray can like kind of company, let me know about them. So to recap, you will definitely want to tape things off before you start cleaning and priming the vehicle. So tape everything off and tie everything up. Then from there, you will use the wax and grease remover and wipe the whole car down, or any surface that you are painting. And then after that, you will use the tack cloth. And with the tack cloth, that'll pick up any dust or particles that you don't see. Once that's completed, you will want to grab the primer and start spraying the primer onto the car like this. Now this is all done with the rattle can. You don't have to be like a professional at spray painting to get this kind of work. Once you spray the primer, you can sand it if you want, kind of to even things out. For me, I'm not going to be sanding anything because there's a lot of imperfections under the primer, and I don't really want to expose that stuff. So if you're just like me, you just want to spray the primer on and then go right on to the base coat. Once the base coat is done, then obviously clear coat. But that is pretty much the gist of painting your interior after gutting it. Honestly, I did not record me prepping the car or honestly painting, but that is the steps I went through, and I hope this video helps out some of those people who are wondering how others are doing it. This is just how I do it. There you go, guys, and that's how you do it. If you guys have any specific questions on how to do this, leave them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. Anyway, stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you guys on the next one.